Hey everyone, it's Kate, and today is the 5th anniversary of the Confidence Stitch. It's November 7th, 2020, and we're filming on Facebook Live, but we will upload this video to YouTube soon after we finish filming. And, you know, we love to party around here, and so what we're doing to party is sewing and giving back to the community. Today, or not just today, but during this video, I'm going to show you how to make a drawstring bag that you can donate to the YWCA, either here in Missoula or wherever you live. As part of our overall celebration, I'm making 4 different videos. On Wednesday, I interviewed Jenny Rushmore of Cashmerette Patterns and talked to her about everything that she has done for the sewing community and also everything she's done for body positivity. This morning, I interviewed Becky Margolis of the YWCA of Missoula, and she talked about all the great programs that they have here in Missoula, and I'm sure that the YWCA, wherever you live, also has great programs. So we do have a little bit of a party element to our service sewing and interview celebrations. If you like and or comment on this or any of our anniversary videos, you will be entered to win a raffle. And the first prize, if you're a garment maker, is a fitting kit, including this great book, The Palmer Pletch Complete Guide to Fitting, perfect pattern paper that I always use for alterations, and a really nice curved ruler. If you're not into making garments, but you love to make quilts, your first prize will be our Dogs and Sweaters kit, which features a lot of our beautiful flannels. So let's get started. Becky pointed out to me during the interview this morning that a lot of times children and moms have to flee from domestic violence situations with nothing, or certainly not with a suitcase or a nice bag. And so then they end up carrying their things around in plastic garbage sacks. And so the Y is really thankful that we're going to be making these drawstring bags, because it really gives their clients some dignity, and it makes them feel special because they have something that's handmade just for them that they get to take with them. So we have put together free kits for making these bags, and I'm going to show you, assuming that you have the kit, but you can use anything, any fabric you have at home, especially if you have some canvas. But our kits are going to have 5/8 of a yard of canvas, and it's about 60 inches wide. Also 50 inches of 2-inch grosgrain ribbon. You can also use twill tape or something like that. And then 100 inches of 1/4-inch cording. You'll also need a marking tool and a ruler and a sewing machine and all your basic sewing paraphernalia. So the first thing you want to do is get your fabric on grain. You know, if you don't get your fabric on grain, then the bag can turn out kind of twisty. So what I do to get the fabric on grain is line up the selvages and then make sure that it's nice and smooth down to the fold. And I create a new fold. I always iron out the fold that comes with the bolt, because that's always off. So I get it nice and smooth, and then I recut the sides so that they are perpendicular to the fold or the selvage. All right, so once you have it straightened out, you'll want to mark your bag. I have the selvages together. I'm gonna make sure, this way, okay. So I have the selvages together. I have it folded right sides together. And on the wrong side, I'm using this denim because you'll be able to see what I'm doing better than the fabric we're including in the kits. But on the wrong side, in the seam allowances, you want to measure 3 inches from the selvage and then mark right here 3 inches down. You're going to put a mark in the seam allowance, and then 1.5 inches below that mark, you're going to do another mark. So you're going to be able to create 1.5 inches opening on the side seams. And then you want to draw a line 2 3/4 inches from the selvage, which is just 1/4 inch up from the marks that you just did. So you'll do those marks on both sides. And then you're ready to sew up the side seams. You want to sew the side seams at 3/4 inch, which is pretty big. And I started at the fold and then sewed up to the selvage. If you go from the selvage down to the fold, you might end up with a little bubble when you get to the fold, which is annoying. So that's how I did it. And then we're going to enclose the seam allowance by folding it under. And I know that this type of seam finish has a name, but I don't know what the name is, embarrassingly. But what you want to do is press your seam open. I have this nice sleeve board. I love it. Especially for videos. And they're available, yes. You could buy a lovely sleeve board or tell someone that you'd love it for a holiday gift. So after you press it open, you're going to fold the seam allowance in half, basically, so you're enclosing it like this. This fabric is super frayy, and I did end up pinning it in place. If you know me, you know I hate pinning because it slows me down. I like to do everything really, really fast. But I found that pinning really helped in this situation. So you're going to turn both sides down all the way and then press it in place. And it's pretty easy as you go down your seam allowance. But then when you get to the bottom, it's going to get, can you see this over here, Rachel? It's going to get a little awkward because it's just that there's a fold down here. So you just want to go as far as you can with folding the seam allowances under. You'll have a little bit of exposed fabric that will fray, but it's way at the bottom of the bag. I think it's fine. So after you press everything in place, you're going to top stitch this down. So this is the wrong side, and you can see that we still have our little 1.5 inch opening. Then on the right side, I think it looks really fun on this denim, I think, and then in the fabric that comes in your kits, you won't really be able to see it at all. And I have also hemmed the top. I just folded it once because this is the selvage. You can fold it twice, then it will look even nicer. But I want to show you the tricky bit of sewing these down. So just like when you're ironing and it's a little bit awkward, when you're sewing these seam allowances down, you're going to do it from the wrong side. You're going to have the bag right side out. And I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and show you kind of the tricky end of the process. Here we go. Alrighty, so got my bag right side out, but I'm sewing from the wrong side, and it's really pretty easy. So easy. Almost seems like I'm not sewing at all, but I'm not. So I've sewed this seam about 3/4 of the way, so I can show you the tricky bit, and hopefully you can see it. You can at least sense that I'm. Thank you, Rachel. Of an assistant. Okay, so here I am, almost at the end. Back stitch a little bit, and then. So I'm going to do a few inches at a time. So I'm kind of moving the rest of the bag out of the way. I can feel under my fingers that I'm not. Oh, I have my. See, I hate pins. Okay, there we go. So I'm feeling with my fingers that I'm not sewing the bag to itself. And I'm just getting in here as far down as I can go. A little bit farther. And I think that's about it. So I'm just going to backstitch. Forward and then that. And, oh, lift the foot. Awesome. So I'm going to head back over to the overhead. And so you can see that I didn't make it quite all the way to the very bottom, but let's see there. Oh, so there's a couple inches left, but it's mostly sewed down. And there's a nice opening for the drawstring. So now I'm going to show you how to make the casing for the drawstring. So you marked that line at the 2 3/4 inches from the selvage, and it's so funny. I feel like whenever I want my mark to disappear, it doesn't, and then when I want it to stay visible, it disappears. So I redrew this 2 seconds before I started the video, and now it's gone already. So here's the 2 3/4 inch line, and whenever I want to sew something that's kind of a loop to something else, I never close the loop before I sew the two together, because if I try to do that, I never do it right. So I'm going to show you how I do, this is how I do all loops, whether I'm doing a quilt binding or a neckline, I always do it this way. So this is where I started, and I pinned the ribbon right along this 2 3/4 inch line, and I leave about 2 or 3 inches loose and backstitch, and sewed all the way around and came to the other end and backstitched again. And now I had finished this and I ripped it out so I could show you this part, but if I hadn't finished, these two would be kind of really random lengths. But I'm going to take these two short ends, put them right sides together, and you can see this yellow mark that I marked where I wanted them to go together. So I'm going to put these right sides together, which is mildly awkward, but pin it in place. And so I've already trimmed this to 1/4 inch, but if this were real life, there'd be more hanging out. So I'm going to go back over to the sewing machine and sew. Oh, so here I have my two short ends together. I'm going to go back to the sewing machine and sew these straight across here. Okay. Back stitch. Okay. And head back over here. And I would do a good job of trimming if I wasn't on camera. And then you can just kind of finger press this open. Hopefully, oh, look what I did. I made it twisted. This is what happens. So I hope you understand what I said versus what I actually did. Oh yeah, I can see my seam ripper, but I can't reach it. But I'm gonna just this out. So if I hadn't twisted it, so that's a good example of what not to do. So if I hadn't twisted it, I would have sewn my two edges together like this, and then I can finish the casing by top stitching across. So we'll just pretend that I did that and go on to the next step. And so in your kit, you have 100 inches of 1/4 inch cording, and you want to cut that in half and then take 1/2 and start threading it through one of the side holes and go all the way around and come out that same side hole and then tie a knot. And then the other cording, you want to go around to the other side hole. And I have this super fun bodkin and threader from Merchant & Mills, but you can use a what can you use? Oh, a safety pin, yes. So I've got my cord on the bodkin or threader. I don't know which is which. It should, but there's another little thing in that package that is either the bodkin or the threader. So as I thread this, it's so easy because you've made such a big casing that you don't have to worry about, you know, threading it through. I hate when you're almost done with your project and you've made too small an opening for your final elastic or drawstring, and then you have to start over. But I really like this casing because it's so sturdy, and I feel like this bag is really pretty and will last a very long time, more longer than if you just made a casing for the drawstring in the hem. So I've got my drawstring all the way through all the way through in one hole and back out that same hole. I'm just going to tie a knot. And open it up. And if you can just pull the strings and it closes really nicely, and then you can carry it around. So that is how you make a lovely drawstring bag, either for yourself or a loved one, or to donate to your local homeless shelter or domestic violence shelter. Thanks for watching. Join me in a few hours at 3 o'clock Mountain Time, and I'll be making a really nice pillowcase for a regular bed pillow that is also wonderful to donate to shelters. a lot of times when the kids come into shelter, they feel scared and away from home, obviously, and it's really nice for them to have their own pillowcase that they can pick and take with them wherever they go next. So happy anniversary to us. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and comment. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel and learn more about sewing and quilting. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.